bit of a ragged start to where they go, and it was Jim Moody.
Jim Moody got a flyer.
But he anticipated the lights beautifully.
Yeah, he did really. Jim Moody on the Norton, an absolute flyer, and he'll need it as well because Jamie Whittam is right behind him this time. Number 6, Jamie Whittam, is right in the slipstream of Jim Moody already. And you remember, it was James Whittam in the first leg who got a diabolical start. Hislop is in 3rd on the Honda in number 11, and behind him it looks like the other fast orange Yamaha of Rob Mack, the big burly Rob Mack, thinking about his handicap in golf, no doubt.
There goes the Honda, and this is the rear-facing onboard camera on James Whittam's bike, and Whittam on the inside, and Moody, two brave men, and Moody drifted wide, and Whittam charged back through on the inside. So it's Whittam who leads,
and
the race has been stopped.
Stopped this time, not because of an accident, but because of that ragged start. Let's have a look at that one again. Jim Moody certainly makes a quick getaway, with 1 or 2 others also anticipating the lights quite significantly. So, another restart.
Round 6 then gets underway, and a much better start this time. The charge is on to the first corner, and Steve Hislop, number 11, number 25 to the outside of him, but I think it was Brian Morrison who stuffed his way through on the inside.
It was Brian Morrison on the Kawasaki, and he's done some modifications in the break between these 2 races because Brian Morrison was unhappy with the way his bike performed in the first leg. So it's Moody in 3rd, 6th there is Whittam in 4th.
And out in front, Steve Hislop. And there goes the Crichton Norton, storming through to grab 2nd place.
And Whittam's up the inside of Brian Morrison into 3rd, so Brian Morrison goes from 2nd to 4th, all in the space of a few hundred yards on the back straight.
Hislop leads, Crichton Norton in the hands of Jim Moody in 2nd place. The fast orange Yamaha of Jamie Whittam. James Whittam, must get that right, he's starting to slap me. In 3rd place. And Whittam, whose lead was cut as a result of the tumble he took in the first race. Brian Morrison is there. Rob McElnay. And Whittam goes through. There wasn't room, but he made room. That really was superb stuff.
Incredible and incredibly hard. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it. Whittam really went through a space that wasn't there, and Moody just had to pick it up and let him go through, because Jim Moody, if he'd have lent it in, they'd have both been down on the ground. A little bit too harsh, I think, for Jamie this early on. As you saw, Hislop out the seat there. Hislop was trying. Here it goes. Let's have a look into the Russell chicane. Whittam lines himself up on the outside of Moody, and as Moody goes to flick it over, it was Moody who saved the day by just sitting up a little bit and letting Whittam through. If he chucked it in, it would have been a major problem. Look at this!
And there, and Hislop's Honda just, absolutely incredible stuff. It's Whittam from Hislop. I thought Hislop's Honda was suddenly running out of pace, but Whittam went storming through. Just going back to that overtaking manoeuvre with Whittam and Jim Moody, you may remember, King, that these two had a coming together at the bus stop at Mallory Park earlier in the year, and were not pleased with each other. Both blamed each other for the crash that ended that particular episode, and Whittam showing that he's not going to be intimidated by anything that Mr. Moody may say or do.
No, absolutely. I mean, that was clear, and here it goes Moody on the Crichton Norton, then up the inside of the Honda of Hislop. So then, Moody into 2nd place, and let battle commence, because now Moody is after James Whittam. And really, out the seat again, and the Norton there twitches at the rear end as he grabs a handful of power, and Hislop looking for the inside line, out onto the back straight, but no, the Norton's going to be away, and in chase after that man at the front, Jamie Whittam.
Well, I suspect that Hislop has changed the gearing on the Honda. The Honda does seem a lot quicker than it was in that first race, Keith.
Well, the weather is a bit strange. It's been a little bit up and down, very humid, but the Honda looks quite good, but Morrison hasn't been able to do much with his Kawasaki either, and Hislop there trying all he can in the middle of the S. He's out on the rough stuff. Moody still 2nd, that's bike 25, but off the front is 6th, James Whittam, and he's away.
And Jamie Whittam, well, let's hear his thoughts on tactics when you lead from the front.
If you're a little bit inexperienced, it's difficult. It's one of the sort of first rude awakenings you get usually in racing is you get to lead a race and you can do the times, no problem. But doing them when you're under pressure and you think there's somebody behind you, it's very, very easy to make mistakes. For example, running at the end of the straight here, or just take a wide line or whatever. What you've got to do is you've just got to try and put consistently fast times without trying too hard to make a mistake. And if that doesn't work, maybe, you know, if they're still with you, it's maybe better to let them pass and you know, and sit back and save your tyres a little bit, because if you're trying hard out in front and you're not getting away from them, you tend to wear your tyres out quicker. If you're sat behind and you can see what's happening, you tend to make your bike last longer, and you tend to be in a more relaxed frame of mind for the last couple of laps when it really matters, when you've got to do it.
So, Jamie Whittam, and the tactics on how you lead from the front. Well, McElnay, the well-known golfer, in fourth spot. Brian Morrison behind him. Ray Stringer, he's a charger. Oh, Ray.
Yeah, you can expect Ray to make a passing manoeuvre on Morrison. Morrison's not quite got his bike going as well as he would have hoped. He said it's a bit of a slug out of the turns. Certainly looked quick enough in a straight line, but not quite so fast out of the turns. And Stringer, as you've already said, is one man that when he's this close, he's going to make a passing manoeuvre, whatever happens.
Ray Stringer, part of the Med Racing team for this year. Michael Rutter, the youngster, the son of Tony Rutter, top-class road racer, former world champion. Michael Rutter and Ray Stringer in this new Med team. And they've been having a good season, despite the odd injury along the way that's upset them. But Stringer on the heels of two factory machines here, Keith.
Well, yeah, I suppose you can just about class Morrison's Kawasaki's a factory one, even though that he's running it from home, basically. But there you are, Whittam then into the back markers already. Moody looks closer to me, Chris. Tell me it's my eyes.
It could be your eyes. I'm going to have to look. It was down to 1.31 at the last count on the monitor. I tell you what, if Jim Moody just gives up on the job of chasing Jamie Whittam, suddenly there's going to be a Castrol Honda go flicking by.
And look at it, Hislop's looking at the outside around Coram, cutting tight now. Will he make a braking manoeuvre into Russell chicane? Yes, he will. And Moody, again, has to give best. Well, the Crichton Norton is perhaps a little bit heavier than the two bikes in front of him, and that's where both of them passed him going into that Russell chicane.
And Jim Moody looks over his shoulder to make sure he's not going to get caught out again. He winds up the Norton, and he's through on the inside. No, he's not. I thought he was just going to flick through back and regain second place, but that Norton is quick, and you could see that Moody had not been using it. Let's see that overtaking manoeuvre again, Keith.
Yeah, you saw Moody was out wide, but Hislop had cut real tight and wound the wick on the Honda into this tight Russell chicane, back down into second gear, and really took it tight. Good drive there from Hislop. Now watch the Norton down the back straight. Is he going to swallow up the Honda on speed? Yes, he is. Going past. No, he's not. On the brakes, Hislop, and the Honda is a little bit better. Moody runs a bit wide there. So he's going to be frustrated now. And Hislop there, big black line at the bomb hole there, Chris.
Adrian Butcher all over again.
That's what worries me.
Well, that's quite remarkable stuff, and they're closing on some slower men. Some tail enders about to go a lap down, and this could be the moment of truth for both guys. Hislop can either make a break here. Well, they're on the straight, so hopefully this is not going to cause a problem. And here's these tail enders. There goes Whittam, and Hislop. Oh!
Round the outside. Well, that's the long way round, and Ben Hines really got a shock there. He's going to get swallowed now by a Norton on the inside. Well, he needs a rear view mirror, that man.
One side, one the other. Really is. I probably think it's time to park it and have a quick cup of tea.
Significant though, Hislop wasn't prepared to wait a split second. He wanted that round the outside of that back marker as quick as he could, went the hard way round. Whittam through the camera then. Second place man is Hislop, 11. 25 was Moody. Now it's McElnay in that fourth place. 5 is Brian Morrison. You can see off the back of there. 17 is still Ray Stringer, a long way back. These two have dropped him.
Yeah, they've dropped him off, and Morrison looks as though he'd like to snap past Mr. McElnay to take fourth place and grab some more championship points.
Back with the fast orange Yamaha, Jamie Whittam completing another lap and on his last, I think now, Chris.
That's right, 13 laps in the book, and he is on the 14th and final circuit. And Hislop is a lot closer. Well, that's a bit of a charge by Hislop. He's broken clear of Jim Moody.
Well, Jim Moody then settling by, it looks as if Jim Moody's settling for third. I wouldn't have thought that he'd have done that, to be honest. No, Jim, I wonder whether he got it a bit wrong somewhere that we haven't seen. 36 then getting swallowed now, David Goodley.
And there's the gap, number 6, number 11, and the tail ender between them. 6 is Whittam, 11 Hislop, the 14th and final lap. The gap was 2.12 seconds. Jamie Whittam cannot afford to ease off because Hislop is charging. There's the race leader. Oh no, it's just too far back to do anything on this final circuit. There is Jim Moody on the Crichton at Norton.
Whittam then will be at Russell chicane. There he is. My favourite place for James Whittam at Snetterton because he looks frightening through there, but he's going to take this easily.
So Whittam then on the way to a victory that will be his third from 6 races in this series. Checkered flag time. Whittam the winner. Steve Hislop a very, very good second. And Jim Moody, surprisingly perhaps, pushed back to third.
And it was another Scot, Brian Morrison, who came in 4th. 5th, Rob McElnay. 6th, Ray Stringer. And yet another new lap record. Whittam getting it down to the 1.9s for the first time. And that was on the second lap.